On this episode of RC Kicks, we're going to be reviewing this, the Hyper Go. So stay tuned to find out, is it any good? Well, it kind of does, but I'm not saying anything about it. First of all, what do you get in the box? Well, you get the car, a transmitter, a screwdriver, a wrench, a charging cable, the manual, a proprietary battery, and a phone case. Cool, huh? Cool. Apparently. So this is the H16H Hyper Go. How can you remember the name? Well, it's kind of written on the side. On first inspection, yes, it kind of looks like a lot of other cars, but hey, I guess that's a good thing. The body that you get with it has lots of protection on it, so it should last you quite a long time. Now, it's coming in at just over 2 kilos.
1.118 kilos, actually.
Smart ass. But these bodies do take a bashing. So you have the roof skids and there's one for the back. Also, it's got a full exoskeleton inside, and the features don't stop there. It has no body pins. You turn this little clip at the back, open it up, and then you can remove it, which again, really familiar.
One eternity later.
Much better. Now, all joking aside, I think they've done a really good job. But in this is only a 1/16 scale, it's got lots of features and functions that we've seen on much more expensive kits. Now let's turn our attentions to what you get inside the buggy. On first inspection, the plastics look pretty good quality. Also, again, with the under tray, it all looks very familiar, but put together rather well. Now, the wheelbase is 17.5 centimeters with a 4.0 centimeter ground clearance. Metal shocks. Oil all round, must admit, looking pretty good. It's got universal shafts. Big, thick universal shafts. Looking at these, they are actually thicker than what you'd get on a 1/10 buggy. Yep. Tires are not super soft, but not rock hard. I think you're going to get a reasonable life out of them. They are glued on. I'm not sure if there's any foam inside. It's hard to tell. I'm not sure, but I do like them. I think I've seen them on a few other cars, so they're pretty generic. But being that they're glued on, I think they're going to last you quite a while. Full bearings all through. Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, yes, I did. Also, a metal running gear throughout. Everything is metal, from the pinion to the spur to the prop to the universals, everything. So that's really nice. The diffs are all metal as well. Comes with a battery. Now, this is a kind of proprietary battery, which is 1,000 milliamps, just over. It's a 25C2S LiPo. So, of course, straight away you'll be thinking, well, I'm not too keen on that. But you can actually run a standard 2S Dean's LiPo in it, and I have, and it fully works. Some of the early cars that came out that you'll see on YouTube, people saying that theirs doesn't, but this is an official release version and it does. So you can actually go and put twice as much milliamp hours in this, which I did, and it works fine. So that I really like. I must admit, I do like these batteries. I think they're really good. You press the button and it will actually tell you what your battery percentage is, and that's how you actually turn on and off the truck, by using this internal battery. You charge on the side here. Only downside to these proprietary ones is you can only really use a Type-C connector to charge them. You can't charge them on your LiPo charger because there's no balance lead. But you can replace them if you will. I must admit, this plastic is all really nice quality. LED lights, you get an LED light at the front. Feels pretty strong, so I don't think you're really going to break that in a hurry. Motor, it's a 390 brushed motor, but that's probably the only thing that would start to put you off a little bit, but we haven't taken it for a run yet, so we can see just how fast this little motor is. But going small like that means you're going to get a longer battery life, especially if you go for something like a 2.2 milliamp aftermarket battery. That's going to give you, this one I think gives you 7 minutes, so you're looking at double that. So that's a decent run time for very little money to add to this truck. It's powered by a 35 amp smart ESC, which I must admit, again, quality-wise, it all looks really nice. It doesn't feel cheap and cheerful, and it has a separate GPS, which is a Hyper 60 GPS. Now, it uses the standard connectors, so you could change the servo if you wanted to. Now, one thing that really interests me is, could you take this out and put this into a different buggy or something like that, because it has all the telemetry that feeds back to the in-app. So if you were to get this and put it into another buggy, would it work? Now, the servo that you get in it is a 17 gram 2.1 kg servo. Now, there is quite a lot of play on the front, and also there is quite a lot of flex. Now, that would normally be a bad thing, but for kind of a basher small buggy, you kind of want that, because it's going to stop you from actually breaking something. It's just going to bend and then bend back again. As for the transmitter, pretty standard generic stuff. I can't really say good things or bad things about it. I've found a lot worse. One thing I think they've missed a bit of a touch, being that this is totally focused towards more younger people, especially that they have the app which shows you your speed, your revs, and how far the buggy's traveled, and you can save all that data, and also the GPS so you can track where you've gone if you're driving around a park. I think the transmitter should be a little bit smaller, because it's more suited for smaller hands. So I think that's where this is really focused at, as well as having this on your arm. Not overly sold on it. Personally, this should have a connector, so you can actually put your phones directly onto a clip on the transmitter, so you can actually see it while you're moving. I think that's definitely a better way to go than this. But the app is a nice idea, and it is done quite well. The graphics are really nice on it. Anyway, I think that pretty much covers everything, so let's take it out for a blast. It may only be a small brushed motor, but it's pretty fast. I didn't feel that I needed more power on a little tiny 1/16. Hopefully, like I said before, we'll see a brushless version. Yes, you know what's coming. It's the music.
I'm running out of time, every day goes by so fast, and every moment counts, baby, I don't wanna miss a thing. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, or hang out in hotel bars, driving somewhere in your car. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, under the stars. do the things we don't wanna do.
So that's the Hypergo from MJX. What do I think? Well, there's good and there's a few little niggles. We'll start with the good. As you can see from the video, I abused this 1/16 buggy way more than it was designed. Dropping it off of a roof onto its head is not part of the design philosophy of a 1/16 buggy, and as you can see, it survived. Now, I did crack the body in 2 little sections, but it was saved by the exoskeleton that was inside, but it fell flat on its head. Now, if you drove this normally, which is over the little tiny jumps that I had, it wouldn't be a problem. You could drive it all day long, you can drive it in the dirt and things like that, but if you start putting it up on roofs, then obviously sooner or later you're going to break it because it isn't designed for that. But the quality of the plastic stood up really well. There is nothing wrong with it apart from a few little cracks on the body. Now that leads me on to one little niggly bit. Being that this is brand new and has only just come out, you currently cannot get replacement parts, which for me is a big red flag, because if you do break something, you're not going to go and put this in the bin after spending that kind of money on it. So hopefully this is something that's going to be addressed and you'll be able to pick up parts separately. Otherwise, it's a difficult one to sell. Another side of it, I do like these batteries that they've done. It's quite a nice idea, especially if you're going to give this to a youngster. These are very easy to charge and it looks after themselves and it tells you that they are fully charged and things like that. Makes it nice and easy. Alternatively, I'll definitely say get 2. Alternatively, go for something like this, which is a 2200 milliamp 2S 25C 7.4 volt. That fits perfectly in this. You can get these from Banggood all over the place, super cheap, and then you're basically having double the power in your buggy, so you can drive it for twice as long. Now, MJX obviously have tons of drones, and this is their first attempt at a buggy, and I have to say they've done a really good job. They definitely know their aspects of what plastics to use, the quality of plastics. It is a beautiful little tiny buggy and I love it. So there you go, that's the Hypergo, and thanks so much. Please like and subscribe, and if you would like to see more content from RCkicks, well, watch one of these, obviously.